My name is Kenyatte Nelson. I am a non-executive director for the British Retail Consortium. My background and expertise is in fashion. Creativity, in and of itself, any creative endeavor is going to seek to challenge the norm. It's not going to conform. And let me be clear, I think you can be creative in anything. There are lots of people who think that creativity is about people who have creative in their title. It's nonsense. You can be a creative accountant. I think what is required is feeling psychologically safe to do so, feeling like you can fail. If the environment is one where anytime someone does something wrong, they get berated for it, creativity is not going to flourish in that environment because people will be too afraid to allow themselves to move into that space. The vast majority of fashion we buy is non-essential, and so it's an emotive purchase. And so fashion marketing needs to be evocative. It needs to create and sustain an emotional reaction. So in that way, I believe it's very different. If you're going to be a really, really great marketeer, you have to get comfortable listening and understanding what it is that drives behavior, what it is that drives choice. And I think when you understand that, you're able to tell more compelling stories. You're able to create more interesting narratives. As humans, we react and respond to stories. It's the way we make sense of the world. And so the brands that can do that well, I think they get more of our share of mind space and our share of wallet. I think first, does the agency have a strong point of view? What makes this agency unique, different? Why does their point of view matter, and why do they believe that it matters? The second is, can you demonstrate that you've worked with clients to solve really complex, customer-centric problems? Then use creativity to address that in a really interesting way. There's some really interesting stuff happening with fashion brands and their willingness and ability to lean into and almost co-create and have two-way conversations with their customer base. I remember when I worked with Gucci all those years ago, there's a rapper in the US named Gucci Man. And at the time, if you Googled Gucci, he would come up before the brand Gucci. Cease and desist letters, talk of suing this guy. I remember having a conversation saying, look, this could be really interesting for the business if they leaned into it. Now they're collaborating with this guy. He's facing campaigns. And over the last, 5-6 years, that brand has grown 30% a year. And I think a big part of that is because they've embraced those who have for so long embraced that brand and done so in a way that's highly innovative, done it in a way that doesn't violate the codes of the house, but expands that house's codes and introduces that house's codes to an audience that for a while would have felt on the periphery or outside of the brand. And I think you're seeing more and more brands do this. I think the opportunities for brand are huge. Where I am walking around in my avatar, if I've paid money for something, there's probably a high likelihood I want people to know what it is. I think if you're a high street, commoditized, own brand fashion retailer that doesn't have a strong and recognizable brand, you can continue to do well in the physical space. I think your reason for existing in the digital space will be slim to none, because there's no reason for a person to spend 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 quid on a jumper, a jacket, whatever it is to dress their avatar, if they don't get the social credit for that. If you have a brand and you're not experimenting in this space, you're missing a trick. And I think the implications from a branding standpoint, from a fashion standpoint, are huge in the context of the opportunities to engage with customers more frequently and in very different ways. I think we're just starting to barely scratch the surface on this stuff.